I'm grateful for the Muslim Institute, the National Language Promotion Department, and the Yunus Emre Institute for inviting me here as a guest speaker. But I must say that I don't really have any credentials as a religious scholar or a scholar on poetry or philosophy. And I feel a little bit humbled to be speaking in front of people who are real experts on the topic. I am just a Western diplomat, but maybe there is a relevance also in that, because a diplomat is supposed to work as a link between worlds, and we can strive for the same unity that everybody is speaking about, but through a little bit different means of increasing the understanding. Love, the life force, and faith, all of which comes from the single source, while the distinctions like nationalities, religions, cultures are mostly man-made. Doesn't make them bad, but we have to understand the difference between the two worlds. Understanding better each other and our sameness amidst all the great diversity is part of my job too. When I graduated from high school once upon a time, one of my teachers gave me a book as a present and guidance, and that book happened to be the works of Omar Khayyam, who is one of the most famous Oriental poets and writers in my country. And the second one, who is really well known, I got to know a bit later, but still as a very young man, namely Maulana Rumi. And I kept reading through my young years Rumi, Saadi, Fariduddin Attar, and this kind of writers. Thanks to a great scholar in my country, Professor Hämeenanttila, who unfortunately passed away last year, who was a great translator of the works of Sufi thinkers into Finnish language. And also his book, which was called Mare Nostrum, Our Sea, made a big impact on me, because the book in a way lays foundations of understanding our civilization, not as two worlds colliding, but one and the same, that has common roots in the Indus, in the Nile, in Mesopotamia, in the Mediterranean Sea. Aďrat Sultan Bahoo is not so well known in my country and or in my part of the world, at least not yet, but hopefully with translations, also more thinkers, Sufi thinkers of the subcontinent will become better known in the far north of Europe. Why distinctions are important is mostly for our communication, and that's also where translations matter. Words and identities. In our time, which is obsessed about identities, we tend to see ourselves and our fellow humans through identities until something happens, until love intervenes. And with love, perhaps we can see ourselves more as the one sees us as energy and the force of life, his emanation that continues. We reflect the light and we create like we were created. In my language, we only have one pronoun for him or for her or even for who. And so it is easy to write very long poetry without distinguishing the gender or the identity of either the lover or the beloved. And when I later found out the English translations of Rumi and other Sufi thinkers, I was a little bit confused, because in English language they have to choose a gender for everything. even for God, which feels very strange, but this is a characteristic of our human languages. They all operate in certain limits. I like the concept of who in Bahoo, because sometimes in the works and in poetry, what is described as earthly love is a metaphor for the divine love, while in other times, what is described as a divine love is a metaphor for earthly love, the human's eternal longing for another human. And maybe this is not a coincidence and such a big deal, because after all, we are created as an image of the One. And perhaps these metaphors, when they dance around each other in a circle of the divine and the earthly, all become the same. The message of Jalaluddin Rumi and Sultan Bahoo is certainly necessary in today's world, where negative news travels so much faster than good and deep messages. Peace, harmony, love, and friendship, which are the topic of this conference, they require certain attitudes, which Sultan al-Arifin, Sultan Bahoo, paid a lot of attention on: the need of humbleness and respect as prerequisite of understanding. Quote, "Wish to live like dead, then adopt the lifestyle of fakir who, if rubbish is thrown at you, then endure it whole. If someone abuses or shouts at you, be polite to him whole. Bear noise, taunts, insult, and humiliation for the sake of the friend who, the most powerful, holds our reins, Bahoo. Live as he makes you live, who." And we find in Rumi too the highlighting of humbleness. "O people, abandon your power and might and embrace humility and meekness, for it is towards humility and meekness that the mercy of the Almighty is directed." Understanding, respect, and empathy, a sort of kindness at difference among us, is definitely needed to dwell in the unity of the One. In Western countries, Islam has the reputation of being very rule-oriented. Do this and don't do that, and be like you are told. Don't question, don't disagree. But this image is based on the exoteric Islam. What the Sufi writers have revealed also to Western audience is another deeper side of Islam. It is as if behind the river there is an ocean. The image of Western culture in the East also often has a very bad reputation, a reputation of arrogance, superficiality, lack of humbleness, lack of respect in its bold self-assertion. Though in our opinion, the image portrayed of us might be very different and in a way false, just like when I say how the Islamic world is often portrayed in the West, you feel this is wrong, this is not the truth. In the rest of the world, it is not truly our self. Sultan Bahoo says, "The insolent are ignorant about respect. They have gone astray from the code who," and Rumi says, "Humble yourself, you'll grow greater than the world. Yourself will be revealed to you without you." Our time that we live in is a very emotional time, with recent innovations such as social media and the algorithms are accelerating that. and they are feeding on the emotional nature of humans, because it's only understood relatively recently that we are not a logical, rational beings, but rather emotional beings who use logic and rationality to excuse ourselves. But we should be careful in hanging our emotions on identities like race, religion, nation, gender, or even taste of music and things like that. We are very quick often to create tribes of ourselves. But for true, we are very diverse, and it's a richness. From a single light, all the spectrum of a rainbow emanates through a prism that we are. Yet at the core of all that creation, the light is one, often better understood by experience, patience, than by distinction. Thank you.